Hello, everyone. Doing a slight bit of an early bird this time at time of this release, anyway. It's Shantae and the Seven Sirens for basically everything.
Or, I mean, if you were honored to be part of the lucky few that got Part 1 for Apple Arcade when this game initially launched.
Apple threw money at WayForward to have like a version of it available early.
Huh.
Yeah, Shantae and the Seven Sirens first saw release on Apple Arcades, I think late October of last year, but it was only a part of it. I think there was like 2 parts total, so like they got the first half of the game before.
No, they got it was like the first dungeon.
It
was like a glorified demo.
So it was like a less interesting version of Deltarune, is what you're telling me. Okay. I'll say
it's weird though, because I think it really did have an impact on the hype cycle for this game, because I didn't really feel that much excitement from the general community. I mean, granted, that's just anecdotal, but
we've changed art styles again. We seem to have landed somewhere between Half Genie Hero and Pirate's Curse. So
yeah, so the animation for these in-game cutscenes is not Studio Trigger. That's just the opening.
It's not.
This is some Eastern European animation company, which you can tell because they're
Eastern
using
Europe's favorite genie and pirate combo.
I can sort of
and risky.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Watching this scene, I can just see the budget, and most of what little they had seems to have gone into Sky's cleavage. So, yeah, it's a little awkward going from that art style back to the Half Genie Hero sprites, though.
I mean, the game still looks good. I really like the way Half Genie Hero looks, and I think that it kind of matches the sprite look, because I think this is something that happened in games a lot, where, you had sprites for the characters and then a completely different art style for the character portraits.
See every Castlevania game in between the first Soma game and Order of Ecclesia. But
oh god.
It is still it's considerably different though than Half Genie Hero, because Half Genie Hero's portraits were just higher res than
that's
sprites.
what I was saying. Half Genie Hero's art style for the portraits was all in the same art style as the sprites, and I mentioned during that commentary that they seem to have gone for a very different art style than Half Genie Hero had. Here it seems that like they want to use the same assets for the game, but because they realized, I think a lot of people liked Pirate's Curse's art style better, they wanted to backtrack a little and get a little closer to that on the portraits. I don't exactly begrudge them that, but
well, not just that, but the 2.5D makeover is gone.
Oh, yes.
Everything is back to
that
2D.
That is a definite improvement, because I did not like the 3D environment graphics in Half Genie Hero much. It made it look like fucking DuckTales remastered or something, and I don't like DuckTales.
Well, that's probably because it was the same engine as DuckTales remastered.
Yeah. But it's like if you're gonna give me a choice between good sprite-based environments and mediocre 3D environments, I'm going to pick the one that's good. And that works in the other direction, too.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think that the art, the background art in this game is gorgeous. Like, this is...
Oh,
I
yes.
think,
I'm already seeing it.
Yeah, but especially when we get to some of the underground areas and whatnot, I think that the art is... This is the prettiest Shantae game to me. Even, I mean, granted, it's not, like, a lot flashier than Half Genie Hero. It's just I like the aesthetic for this one a lot.
This is giving me some vibes from that remake of what was it called? An old Sega franchise, Monster Boy or something.
Oh yeah, Wonder Boy, Monster Boy,
something like that.
I need to play those.
They made a new game in that series, or a remake, and I haven't had a chance to buy it yet, but the videos and screenshots I've watched are fucking beautiful, and this is giving me the same kind of energy.
The team that made those games ended up making Streets of Rage 4, so...
Oh, yes. And Streets of Rage 4, for as many complaints as I have with it, in the archaic gameplay mechanics department, looks like the most amazing thing I've ever seen, so...
Yeah. Playing this game was interesting. I played this game live on my stream, twitch.tv/xnshadow.
Who said that?
So I got this game, but I wasn't really feeling the hype around it. I had completely forgot that the game was coming out, and as somebody who really
so did I.
enjoyed a lot of the other Shantae games, it was just surprising to me that I just wasn't feeling it, and there wasn't really a reason for it.
I'm sorry, but the
wasn't
animation
feeling
on
it.
that last woman that Shantae was talking to over on the other screen, she's jittering around so much, she looks like she's had the Final Fantasy haste spell cast on her. What's up with
She's
that?
just excited.
It's like that animation feels like it should be cycling through a lot slower than that.
I have to agree to that. A big part of it for me was because the game was released in a part. I didn't exactly look into it, what that meant exactly at the time. But when I heard that like iOS devices or like Apple Arcade was getting part 1, I was like, I don't know what that means. So I hope it's okay. But then after that, it just kind of dropped off the face of the earth for like a good 5 months, and then I just learned like a couple of weeks ago the full game is ready to come out. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was out
I guess
on
I'll
Apple
just sit down to
Arcade.
get it.
The full game was out on Apple Arcade for a bit
March?
before March. Okay, and then
Yeah.
a few months later, the other consoles got it.
Yeah, I didn't even hear that the second part was released for
Well, because no one
Apple products.
Again, no one really games quote unquote on mobile, not in the same way you do on PC or consoles and
Yeah,
stuff.
not in the traditional
Not in the
sense.
traditional
So
sense now.
no one interested in a Shantae game is going to be playing it on phones. They're just not.
Honestly, like the most successful quote-unquote real video games that I've seen on mobile are ports of games that people are already fans of, and I get the feeling most of the people who buy those are the people who've already played it on something else and are comfortable enough with it to want to play it on the go on something that's a lot less convenient.
It is unfortunately something that I think hinders the game in its entirety, because I believe this game was developed for iOS and Apple Arcade firstly, before it was decided to be
I wouldn't be
console
so
game.
sure about that. I think it was more that just Apple threw money at them.
Like I don't think that Way Forward would ever have even considered making this an Apple exclusive game, because that's just a good way to completely tank
No,
sales.
but if they wanted to grab the iOS market with accessibility, they would do everything in their power to make it as accessible.
You mean in
to
terms
that
of like
base.
user interface and controls?
user not so much control or user interface, more like just the overall easiness of this. This game is very fucking easy.
It is a pretty easy game, and I'm sure we'll talk about
Yeah.
that plenty. I mean, I didn't really mind it. I should just go out and say it right now. This is probably my favorite Shantae game out of all of them.
Really?
Even more than Pirate's Curse, yes. I have not yet watched your review, John, because it uploaded like a half an hour ago at the time of this recording, June 9th, 2020. There, we'll just save y'all the work this time. But
YouTube.com/LongComedyJohn.
well, you don't, okay, John, you have more subscribers. You're not allowed to plug yourself on this.
I sincerely doubt we have more than like 2 subscribers on this channel who aren't already subscribed to you. So
It's charming when I do it because nobody likes me.
you have a
But
weird
anyway, I mean, we'll
idea
go-
of what constitutes charming.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, we'll go into this more as we go throughout the game. But one thing that I was just really happy to see is that this game is the sequel to Risky's Revenge that I've wanted since 2000.
In more ways than one.
Oh, you mean they've gone back to Metroidvania?
Yeah, because
Actually,
Pirate's
yeah.
Curse, don't get me wrong, great game, but it's not really a Metroidvania. There isn't really an interconnecting world. There's 5
It's a
long
Metroidvania. You just
hallways.
don't travel. You just don't have a hallway that leads from one area.
It's a
to the next.
Metroidvania in the same way that Metroid Fusion was a Metroidvania.
Metroid
I'd say even
Fusion-
less
I would
so.
say more like Metroid Prime 3.
That's actually a pretty decent comparison, I would say, because Metroid Prime 3 is a collection of mostly straight hallways that then have secrets in them, granted, so there is still exploration, but
What? Wait,
they're not all
what?
connected. Yeah.
Is-
That's...
What?
She's exactly who you think she is.
You see, this is what happens when Lewis doesn't play the game beforehand, because he interrupts conversations with what he's actually watching on screen.
What?
You watch what's on screen.
Roddy Tops, what are you doing?
That's not Roddy Tops, that's
Oh, no,
fill
you're
in the
right.
blank.
The facial expression is wrong for Roddy Tops, but what?
Fill in the blank.
What in that?
I'm sure that won't be important at all.
What in the? What the hell, man?
I mean, we all knew, right?
Yeah.
Because
Also, who called
I
Mayor? Who got the obviously evil alarm when you saw the mayor?
I was not so much with the mayor, but somebody in this story, because I just kind of got that feeling throughout. I was like, someone's gonna betray me. He's like, I'm just not sure which one. Like the mayor is probably an obvious pick. I was thinking actually one of the half genies was going to go turncoat. I knew Roddy was Roddy because one thing they established pretty early, I think if you talk to like the half genie fanboy, the nerd that collects monster cards or some other shit, says that, you know, the half genies have distinguishing features, most importantly their ears. I see the zombie half genie. I notice I don't see your ears. It looks like Roddy. It's Roddy.
You had to notice the minor NPC text about the ears to know that it was Roddy Tots.
Well, but I like it's fun to me though. I like to put those little nuanced little details together.
Well, speaking of NPC dialogue, this game just has great dialogue in typical way forward fashion.
Yeah, that's nothing new.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the writing style for Shantae is so distinctive, and I can't find the right adjective for it, but just the way that all of the characters talk just makes me laugh out loud every time I read it.
Yeah, I know what you
Like,
mean.
from the way that they describe, like, you talk to there's always an NPC in every single game who tells you how to skip conversations, and that dialogue's always hilarious every single time.
Yeah.
Like, I forget which game it was where the guy says, I'm a rude dude. I skip conversations with people. Oh yeah, the monster cards. This was something that was super interesting to me when I played the game, and it was one of my favorite inclusions. Mostly just because when compared to other games of this type, like the Sorrow games in Castlevania and Bloodstained, they drop so much faster. You don't have to stand there for an hour and grind every single
To a point. I feel it depends on the enemy, because there were some that I, just out of curiosity's sake, I wanted to see what the monster card did, but there were times where the worst of it was probably 15 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, still...
That's still a lot better than
Especially
Aria.
Dawn of Sorrow. No, well, even Aria's even better than Dawn of Sorrow, though, where it takes an hour to get anything in that game. Oh, God. Maybe one day I'll fix my DS recording software and I'll record Dawn of Sorrow because, well,
You said you were going to do Aria like 10 years, not like 10,
No,
like 2 years ago.
No, but like Ted, we need to be close to each other so that we can grind souls together and trade them.
Trade them through DS interactive Wi-Fi technology.
Because that's the entire reason why souls are so grindy in that game.
Yeah, but in Pokemon, they don't have the catch rate on Rattata be 0.5 so that you could then trade the
Pokemon
Rattata
is for
with your
losers.
You're right. Only babies play Pokemon. And no one else.
We saw our first Heart Squid there, just letting everyone know this is not a 100% run.
No,
a
why would
100%
you?
run would take a while, because I believe you need to get at least one of every monster card, all of the
I am not
squids.
I am not 100% sure how much the cards count towards percent, but you would need
I don't think they do. I think it's just hearts and nuggets.
But you would need to get all the nuggets to do it, which is a lot of trial and error exploration and just kind of running around the entire map.
For the wrong reasons, I feel, because it's actually my biggest complaint I have with Seven Sirens.
Yeah,
the map sucks.
I would not recommend 100%ing this game.
Besides, like, you know, it marks save rooms, warp rooms, and home points. That's it. Collectibles, not a goddamn thing.
You can't.
Like,
you can't even put waymarkers yourself.
Oh, you missed the frog one. Oh man. Yeah, but no, modern day maps have spoiled us. Like especially.
But it's not even that, Ted. It's more like it kind of goes backwards too, because Pirate's Curse marked items on the map.
Oh yeah, you're right. It did.
You know, and this game doesn't do that at all, and I'm wondering, like, why is it like that?
It really should be. I think collectibles should be marked in the game because when I was streaming this, I basically scoured over the entire map 2 or 3 times, trying to find everything. And to be fair, I didn't personally mind that because I think that this is one of the most fun Shantaes to control and just move around in once you get all of her, especially when you get all of her powers. But we'll talk about that as we go. But I do agree in that the map is probably the biggest issue with the game. even if you could just mark stuff, because almost every Metroidvania that's come out recently that I can think of lets you do that. From Hollow Knight to Bloodstained to the Metroid Return of Samus let you do it, I believe, as well.
Yeah, which I will at least hold out some hope that WayForward will put out a patch for that.
Well, I'm hoping
that
we get
that
DLC.
is one of the, well, we'll see, but at the very least get a patch, because that's like the one unified complaint about this game, where it's like, just let us mark shit.
Yeah, I really hope that's the case. I would really like, a Risky Mode DLC. I don't expect to get nearly as much DLC as Half Genie Hero got, because Half Genie Hero's DLC was all stretch goal Kickstarter stuff that they were obligated to do. They don't necessarily have to keep doing DLC for this game, but I just think it would be fun. Mostly just because I really liked the way Risky played in Half Genie Hero, and getting that playstyle back again I think would be really cool for this game. But, that's just a hope, not necessarily something I expect come... I don't know even when that would come out, really. And they haven't said anything regarding DLC plans anyway, so...
There's a part of me that wouldn't be terribly surprised if this is one and done.
Me as well, yeah.
It probably is.
Because Pirate's Curse, as much as I love that game, was one and done.
Yeah.
It never got any sort of add-ons in any capacity. It was just released as is, and it moved on to the next game after raising money for it.
What was it originally released for?
3DS?
Pirate's Curse, but 3DS and Wii U.
Yeah, that would explain it.
I believe the Wii U version was later, though. I think it was just 3DS
Slightly.
to start. A couple months, yes.
And then like a year later it was on PC and everything else.
Yeah, it got ported to a bunch of stuff.
That would be why. 3DS could do DLC, but it wasn't great for DLC.
Yeah, the biggest thing about it was the storage capacity. Like, the 3DS's standard storage capacity sucked, and nobody wanted to buy a new SD card for that. So.
Yeah, well, even once you get past that, as I have with my SD card, the store sucks. Just putting that out there.
It's better than the Switch eShop.
It's no.
No, the Switch eShop, you can't find anything in that goddamn off. There's no sorting. The search menu sucks. There's no.
You have to know exactly what you're looking for already.
Yeah, and there's no way to like.
I'm looking for.
I'm talking
video
about.
game.
I'm talking about specifically for DLC. The 3DS eShop was horribly inconvenient for it.
I mean,
the
you did have to
DLC
leave
was
the game.
Right,
Well, no, they eventually did an update where you could download DLC and stuff like that with the game in sleep mode. So they did.
What I'm talking about is that the DLC was never listed underneath the game itself. It was always listed as a separate item on the shop that you had to go hunting for.
Well, most games did have a.
Some games had like an in-game DLC shop that was separate from the eShop, but it was a very game-by-game basis kind of thing.
Well, most major games I could think of had it. Like, every game I can think of with DLC. What is that? Mario Golf, the Shin Megami Tensei games had it. There weren't a lot of DS games with DLC, as you could probably imagine. But almost everyone I can think of did have that link in the game itself to get the DLC, so... I mean, granted, it always took forever to load up, but I still would, even with all of its clunky-ass faults, I would still take the 3DS eShop over the Switch eShop.
Okay, so... Shantae
I did like
sorta...
seeing these animated cutscenes. I mean, budget notwithstanding, because some of them are very clearly better animated than others. It was charming to see some of these events just happen with real animation, because I felt like it did add a bit of gravitas to some of the scenes going on.
It takes me back to like PlayStation PS2 days of presentation.
Yeah, it does
actually
remind me
went
a
out of
lot
their
of
way
that, where something
make animated
epic is
cutscenes for that.
happening, so they switch to FMV mode.
Yeah.
Well, that was the first part of Shantae and the Seven Sirens. We will see you guys on the next part.